Hello happy people, welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to take you through the best settings for Astra theme, and this is a free theme. To get it, you basically come to appearance, themes, and then you say add new theme, and right here you can search for a theme called Astra. It is 100% responsive and 100% compatible with the world's best page builder called Elementor, and on top of that it is lightweight. So once you have Astra, you simply install and activate. Once you have Astra activated, now you simply come down here under appearance, themes, there is something called customize. So we click over there and we head straight to the customizer. So at the moment, this is how our website looks like. Once you are now into the customizer settings, just go to global, and here you have the typography option, and right here you can set the typography of your entire website. Now this is the first section for the body and content, and here you can choose the body font of your website. This will include fonts like this. Whatever is happening between your page elements, you can set up here the size of the font or the body font. The line height is, if this is the first line and this is the second line, what is in between here is the line height. The paragraph margin at the bottom is if you have this paragraph and another paragraph down here, you can simply set that up and you have a special margin or a special size of margin between two paragraphs. Once you're done setting up your body text or the best typography, you can now set the headings typography. This will be only for the headings. So you can say, when you come here, look at the family, you can choose a different font family for your heading text. However, there is also an option called inherit. When you say inherit, this will inherit the parent typography that you set in the base typography, and you can still inherit the weight, you can still inherit the text transformation, or you can basically set for the headings a different weight, even a different text transformation. In this case, I'll leave it at default. And now when you go to the heading 1, you can change the size of the heading, and of course heading 1s are always bigger than heading 2s. At the same time, heading 2s are bigger than heading 3s. Here you can choose which type of measurement you'll be using, either EM or pixels. I prefer that you use EM. You can still do the same for heading 2s, heading 3s. You can also view the different heading sizes on different devices: mobile phone, desktop, tablet, mobile. So we go back to the desktop. The same you do for all your other headings, to heading 5 to heading 6. Now we go to the next section, and this is for the colors. You can choose the best colors for your website, the best color for the theme, the best color for the text. You can choose it here, drag around, get the best color code that you want by just dragging over here, and then you can come over here, choose the best theme color. This is the color that will appear anywhere on your website by default for the theme. And then the best link color, this will be the color for all the links on your website. You see, this is the link, but this is on hover, and that takes us to the next option, best hover color, and that's why you see this. So you can set to have a link color and a link hover color. On the other hand, you can set the background color for your website or even a background image by simply clicking over here, select image. You come here to your image library and you can choose an image from here, and you set it to be your website background image. Next section, and this is the container. The container is what is holding your website, and the container width here is basically specifying how wide our website will go. We can make it smaller, we can even make it larger. You can only see the changes that you make here on a bigger screen. The recommended is between 1000 and 1200, as most people use devices that are perfectly matching with those resolutions. We can choose the layout of our website from box layout, content boxed, full width, stroke contained, or full width, stroke stretched layout. Now when you set up to use the boxed layout, we'll get all the page elements to be in a boxed kind of form on your website. And on the other hand, if you use the full width layout, your website will make sure that it uses all the available space on the visitor's screen. The page layout, you can choose to use the default. I mean, this is only applying for the pages. And the blog post layout, this is also only applying for the blog post. and the archives layout is only applying for the archives. You can choose to have a different layout for each and every sections of these: page layouts, blog posts, and archives. So in this case, we are basing it on default, and the default layout is the boxed layout. And then the WooCommerce layout, this is only applying for the pages that are WooCommerce enabled, so it is also based on a layout. This is a good kind of setting because it is going to be uniform across the whole website. You can of course have a default layout which is maybe full width, and then you can have a different layout for, let me say, the blog post that can be boxed, content boxed, or full width. That goes back to what you want. Now when we go to the buttons, we can set the button stylings. In this case, we are having the button text to be white and then the background color to be green, just the way you see like this. And then on hover, the text is going to be white, and then the text here is going to be this kind of color, grayish, something like that. Now this is only applying to the buttons that are based on the theme settings, not buttons that have been made by the page builder or any other extension that you are using. Next, we can look into the header. In the header settings, we can choose the header logo by simply clicking over here and choose the logo for your website. And we can even change the logo. Here you can say change logo, and then you can upload a separate logo for your website. At the same time, you can have a different logo, which is now the retina logo. The retina logo is always way bigger than the normal logo you have uploaded on your website. This is good for devices that are bigger and maybe have a higher resolution, and that way your website will automatically adapt or will automatically display the larger logo. With Astra, you can even choose to display a different logo for mobile devices. So in this case, you might have your logo in a number of versions, and you may say, okay, this logo is best viewed on this kind of device. The logo width is the width that your logo is going to take up. You can choose to increase this width of your logo, or you can even choose to have a smaller width for your logo. Next, we can set a site icon. A site icon is whatever happens right at the top here. It is called a favorite icon or a favicon. So you can simply click over here and then upload that site icon. Normally, it should have these dimensions, 512 by 512 pixels. So you simply select that favicon right here and then bring it over into your website, and that means it will appear at the top here in the tab. And then right here we can set the site title, so you can change it to whatever name you want by simply typing here. Now you see, now that automatically changes. And then we can also display the site title in our header, and if I disable this, you realize that our site title disappears from our header. See, in this case I want it to stay. We can keep the site title in line with the logo. If I disable this, our site title will go down below the logo. In this case I want it to stay in line. And then the site tagline, this is like the tagline of your business or the business slogan. You can simply type it right here, and you can choose whether to display it on your website or not to display it there. And both the site title and the site tagline, you can set a different font size for any of those. Right here, I don't want to display the site tagline on my header or inside my logo section. So when I'm done with that, I can come to the primary header. I can choose how my header is going to appear. So in this case, we're using this layout, but we have also the layout where the logo is at the center, and then we have the layout where the logo is at the extreme right hand side. When I select this, you realize that my logo is going to move right in between here in the middle, and then the navigation is going to move right below, but the whole of this section is a header. The same if I do for this other layout, the logo is going to move right at the extreme end, and we have our navigation right here. I don't think that's what you want, so we will have something just like this, what we had on default. We can set the width of our header to either be full width or content width. The full width will always take up the space that is available by the container, which you already set up in the previous section. But if you choose to use the content width, this will be set to the default layout that you chose. Remember, you can have a different layout for pages, blogs, sections, and a lot more. You can even choose to have a border for your website, which is the header border, something like this. You see this division, this is the border they are talking about. Let me put here 10 You see that is a border. You can even choose to have a different color for your site border, just something like that. Let me make it 2 is better. So we can have something like that. We can also choose how our logo and navigation is going to appear on a mobile device. That is the mobile header. So in this case, we chose to have it in line, whereby the logo is in line with the navigation. And that means when we view our website on a mobile device, we will have a hamburger menu. This is what is simply displaying over here. Everything is in line, but if we choose this other layout, you realize that we are going to have our logo at the top and the navigation right below here. Now we can go to the other section, the primary menu. Let's first go back to the desktop view. For example, in this case, we have the last item in the menu as our WooCommerce cart, which is right here enabled. So in this case, we can even choose to have a different item in the menu to be maybe a search. You see, we have now a search here, whereby when we click on that search, we can display a search widget in our header. We can allocate a button, we can allocate a custom widget, or even a widget that is available in our WordPress website. In this case, I'll just take it back to our WooCommerce cart icon. And that means if people add items to the cart, automatically people will come over here and they'll be able to check out on your website. When we go to the submenu, these are submenu items. We can say we have a fade. We can even set to have maybe a submenu that slides up. You see, slides up. We can even choose to have a side menu that slides down. Look at this. See, that slides down. We can even have a border container, which is 2 at the top. You see, we have the border container, which is like 2 pixels at the top. You can even change and say even at the bottom we want 2. So when I come over here, you see now we have 2 at the bottom of our submenu. Now when we go to the border color, we can choose to have a border color for our submenu items. You see now this is the border color, which is a submenu divider. Then we can also choose a submenu divider, and this is the submenu divider right here. And this is the color that is displayed here in the submenu divider. The breakpoint for our menu, the breakpoint is basically saying when should our menu display once the visitor is using a certain device. And that's where we set here, right? The pixels, you can say I want it to drop at 1000 pixels. The toggle button style, here it's saying it's a fill. We can say it's an outline. You can even say it's a minimal, or you can even leave it to be a fill. And here you can choose the button color. Now the color you choose here will override the default button color that you chose. And then the border radius that you want to choose for your mobile menu, or you can even choose a link. But in this case, I prefer to use the icon. Once you set up your primary menu settings, we can now go to the transparent header. What you are seeing at the moment is a transparent header on our website. For now, it is enabled on the desktop, but we don't have a transparent header on the mobile. Let me show you how that looks like. You see now, on the mobile devices like tablets and mobile, we don't have a transparent header. But once we say here enable on desktop and mobile, you realize that we will also have a transparent header on our mobile devices from tablets. Now, this is one of the other powerful features that comes with the Astra free theme. Astra is one of those only themes in the industry that gives you the possibility to set a transparent header for your website. In this case, I'll leave it for desktop, or we can simply enable a transparent header on the complete website. And here you can choose to use a different logo for your transparent header. In case you're not using a transparent header on other devices, you can choose to have a different logo. Okay, just like I explained earlier, the logo sizes and the logo width and the colors and the different colors for the background, you know, the site title, the menu, submenu, you can all set that right here. So once you are done with the transparent header settings, you simply just head back to our main customizer settings. You can set up the breadcrumbs right here. You can say I want them to display inside the header, or after the header, or before the header, something like this. And if you choose to display them inside the header or anywhere else, you'll have to choose. You see now we already have a breadcrumb right here. We can choose the icon, and the icon that will display between the different sections where you are. You can disable this. You can disable this breadcrumb, on the home page, on the blog stock posts page, in the search, in the archive, in the single pages. Well, it goes back to what you want to set up. And then you can even choose to align your breadcrumb to the left, to the center, or anywhere within your header or your website. Even the spacing you can set up right here. The same for the content colors and the typography. In this case, I don't want to display breadcrumbs on this website. I can simply say none, so it will just hide away. And now we can go to the blog settings. We can set up the settings for the archive page and the single posts. So let me start with the archive posts. With the archive pages, in this case, we can set up to display a featured image on our archive page, a title and blog meta. In the blog meta, we will show how many comments are on that specific blog post, category, and who the author is. We can even choose to display the publish date when that specific blog post was made, or even the tags that are available on that blog post. You simply just click on any of these eyes right here and you enable that function to appear on your website. You can even just drag around to choose which item will come first on your meta description. You can choose to have the content width of your archives as to default, or you can have a custom one. The default one will go and echo the default container width we set up for the archive pages right in the settings we did prior. Here on the typography, we can set the archive title size. On mobile, we can choose a different size. On tablet, we can choose a different size, and even on the mobile, we can choose a totally different other size. And then the post title, the same, you do it here. And once you are done with that, we simply just head now straight back here to our single posts. Here we set the content width to the default one. Then the structure of our blog is going to be featured image first, and then the blog and meta text come next. In this case, we can even change this arrangement to have the title coming first, or even the featured image coming next. And then the meta description right here, you can simply set that up like I've shown you already. And we can choose to have the page title or the post title to a specific font size that we want for our blog posts. Okay, now we move on to the next section, and those will be the sidebars. We can choose to have a default sidebar on our WordPress website, and that can be the right sidebar, which will appear this side. We can even as well choose not to have a sidebar on any section of our website. For the pages, we have set it to use the default sidebar, blog posts the default sidebar, and archives the default sidebar. The default sidebar is the right sidebar. And then for the WooCommerce, we say no sidebar, but in this case, we can even set it to be a left sidebar, and we only have our WooCommerce products appearing right on the left sidebar. And on the single product, we can even also choose to have a default sidebar, which is the right sidebar, or even we also use the left sidebar. I prefer to have the left sidebar set for anything to do with products and WooCommerce. We can choose the sidebar width. You can set it to take it up 30% of the page, or 40% or 25%. 30% is recommended. How do you set up what appears in the sidebar? So let me take you right straight there. Now we are into our dashboard area. We simply come over to appearance, come to widgets, and when you come to the widgets area, you have the main sidebar, which is the default sidebar, and then we have the WooCommerce sidebar, and then we have the product sidebar. Now this is for the single products. This is for the WooCommerce, which we can also set up to be maybe on the left sidebar or whatever we want. And this is going to be wherever we choose to display default sidebar. We can simply drag and drop elements into any of these sidebars. For example, like a calendar. If we don't want any of those elements, we can simply delete those elements from our sections. Anyway, that's how you set up what appears in a specific sidebar that you have set up. Now, once we are back right here into our sidebar area, we can decide on what is going to appear in the footer area. So we can choose either to have a footer or not. In this case, if we want to show our footer widgets, we simply just click here on the footer widgets, and we can say we want to display footer widgets in our website. You see now it is showing up right here. We can set up the background for our footer. We can say we want it to be this kind of color. We can even choose a background image to display in our footer. We can set the color for the text that is going to appear in our footer widgets, and even on hover, what the links will look like in our footer section. So anyway, that's how you set up your footer widget area, but now we can also set up the footer bar. The footer bar is what appears below the footer widgets area. So here we can choose whether to have a footer bar or not. So you have the option which is for no footer bar, and that will basically deactivate our footer bar. And if we set this section to have a footer bar, where we set to have two sections, one on top and one below, this is how it looks like. First section up, second section below. And if we set up this other footer bar, we can have one section on the extreme right hand and one on the extreme left hand side. Right here you can set up how your sections will be. For example, you want the first section, which is this section, to have a text area, and here you can choose and say you want your copyright to appear there, you want your current here to appear here. This is what you're basically setting up. And the footer credits, here you can link up to anything else. However, you can also change that and say I don't want anything to appear in the footer section area 1, which is this. So by saying none, you won't have anything appear right here. So when you set it to none, this is how it will appear. The same even for section 2. If you set it to none, you won't have anything appear down there. In this case, we want to use the text, and we want our copyright text to appear in our footer section 1. In section 2, we can still do the same thing. In this case, we can either retain the text to be the one to appear right here, including our site title and a link to, maybe powered by that so-called company or that individual who designed you the website. Or you can simply select a specific footer widget to appear right down there, and that can be a widget that you set up in your widgets area under the section area. And then you can also set up to have a footer menu right appear down in this section, and that you can only do when you create that menu, and it's a footer menu. So anyway, that's how you set up the section area. In this case, I'll just take it back to the text widget. Right here we can set up the width of our footer bar, and we can say it is to the content width, not the full width. Or you can easily decide, if you chose to use the full width as your best settings, then you can always use the full width setting. We can also set here a border for our top bar. You can simply just increase here your pixels and also change the color for your top bar. This is how it will look like. And you also change the color for your border. That's how it will look like. Anyway, I don't want anything like that. I'll just make it 0. And also we can change the background for our footer bar and the content styling on how that will look like. For example, background for this, we can set it to be something like that or like that. Goes back to what you want. Leave it to default, make it white. And the same we can do for the content. You can say you want your text color to be very different, something like this or something like that. And then the link color can also be a very different color. These are the links I'm talking about. So anyway, I'll clear this and just leave it at default. Once you are done making up your settings, then you are good to go. However, I don't want to display this widget right here, so I'll just simply head back right here to the widgets area and I deactivate it. But before I do the deactivation, we are going to look into another section before the WooCommerce. We are going to look into the widgets area, and here we can set the widgets that are going to our footer area. Now, there are two options to use. You can either go to the widgets area under dashboard and you set which widgets are going to appear in your footer widgets area, or you simply just come right here in the customizer, right down here in the widgets, and you can set which widgets are going to appear in your footer area widgets. By clicking over here, add a widget, you simply just add that widget to that specific widget area that you're trying to work on. It can be navigation, pages, products. It can even be product listing, product search. You can add any other thing. It can be custom content like text. You can even add a video, even a form in your footer area widget. So that's how you can set up what appears in your footer widget areas. So now I can just go back to our footer, go to widgets, and I can deactivate this. When I deactivate this, it means it's going to take away all the footer widgets area section. Boom, so it's gone. Now let's head to the next setting for the WooCommerce. Here we can set a store notice, and this can be like, the store is not yet up, and once it's up, you can do this and this and this. So it is basically communication to your website visitors. So to enable it, you simply just click over here and you enable the store notice. Next, we can show a product catalog. So on the shop page, so this is a page you already create in your website, and you can say on the shop page you want to show products, or you want to show categories, or you want to show categories and products. Then on the categories display, you want to show products, or you want to show subcategories and products. Goes back to what you want. So the default product sorting, this is the default one. Custom ordering plus the name, but in this case you can choose from any of these other options. So on the next one, we can also set up the shop archive content width. In this case it is default. It is default to what we set up in the container settings. So we can even still change to a different size of our content width, even the shop columns, but it goes back to what you really want to do. Next one, you can set how many products are going to appear on every page on your website. You can say 12, you can say 30, you can say 6. And the shop product structure, then you can also set it up here. Either you want it to be category, item, ratings, and the price. So this setting is only available once you have WooCommerce enabled on your website. Next, we can set up a single product. We can decide to show breadcrumbs or disable them. So that goes back to how you want it to be. And then the product images, we can say we want our product images to be this wide. And even the product thumbnails, we can say the product thumbnails, we want them to be having this kind of ratio, or even a custom one, or even a cropped one. Then the other is that we have the cart. We can enable upsells on our cart in case someone is on the cart page or the shop page. We can say, hey, there is even this other product you can also check out on. Then the checkout page, we have the company name. These are like the default ones, so we can say it's optional. In case on the checkout, we can ask for someone to feed in their company name, or it can be optional, it can be required, depends on what you want, or we can simply hide that field. Then the address line to field, we can say, okay, it can be optional or required. In this case, it's better to make it optional, or some people just want to make it really simple and easy for the client to check out, so they don't waste most of their time. They just make these hidden and the company field name hidden. They just collect the client's name and email and the phone number. So we can set up a privacy page. This we can choose from the existing pages that we created on our website. It can be having a different other name. In this case, it is privacy. Then the terms and conditions. Of course, you must have set up terms and conditions on how your visitors use your website. So you can simply select it from here on the pages. And then the privacy right here. This is the notification that appears right below on your checkout page that says your personal data will not be so and so and so. Please check out our privacy page, and there will always be a link someone to click on. The same applies for the terms and conditions page. Here it would say you must have read and agree to the terms and conditions, or by purchasing anything on this website you agree to our terms and conditions, and in this case it will be linking up to the terms and conditions page. Once you are done setting up that for the WooCommerce, then we can now go to our menu section. Now we have two options to set up our menus. We can either create a new menus from appearance, menus, and that way you can create menus for your WordPress website. On the other hand, Astra has a very powerful customizer. Like I told you, we can also create menus from our customizer section. Just like this, we can just say create a new menu, and then we can easily name that menu. Let me say footer menu. And then we can choose the menu location right here, and then we can say next, and we can add items to that menu. Let's say all these pages, and once you add those items to your menu, you can even reorder them, or in case you don't want any of these items to appear on your menu, simply just click on that item and come over here and remove that item. Once you are comfortable with what you created, or in case you want to edit a menu right here, you just come back here and make changes to that menu, or even change the menu location. It goes back to what you want. So anyway, that's how you set up a menu in the Astra customizer. So the homepage settings. So in the settings under reading, you can set up that same setting right here. You can say you want your homepage to be a homepage, but not the latest post page. So the same way we can do that here in the customizer, we can say we want to display our homepage as a static page, and then we can set a dedicated page for the blog posts or the latest post page. So we can just set up right here by selecting the necessary page. Here you can add additional CSS to your WordPress website in the Astra customizer theme. In case you have any coding knowledge or you know how simply to write some CSS, you can style up different sections of your website by adding custom CSS to your website here. Anyway, those are the basic settings for your Astra free theme. And in case there is something I left out or there's something you want clarification on, please feel free to let me know in the comment box below. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and waiting to read your feedback in the comment section. If you like the video, please don't forget to hit the like button, and if you're new to this channel, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you don't miss out on new other videos when I push them out. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.